Okay, hello and good morning. We're in week number 1, but it's quarter number 2. So make sure you label your bell work accordingly. Let's take a look here. Remember, when you reflect over the x-axis, you change the y. So on number 1, you're going to change all of the y's here. So your new point with the prime is going to be -2 and -4. Excuse me, and b prime is going to be 3 and 6. On this one, when you reflect over the y-axis, number 2, you have to change the x. Remember, you always change the other one. So here you're going to change the one with the dot. So you're going to get 2 and 4 and -3 and -6. And those are reflections over the x and y axis. Let's take a look here. Rotation, the rules are right here. Now write down the rules and make sure you memorize them. When you go 90 degrees clockwise, which is this way, 90 degrees, and 90 degrees looks like this. So when you go 90 degrees clockwise, according to this, you're going to change the x and switch. So for number 3, you're going to change the x and switch. So if I change the x, it becomes a positive, and then switch, it's going to be 4 and 2. And then here, when I change the x, that's going to become a negative, and then switch. So it's going to be -6 and -3. Make sure you use the rules here. Okay, this one is change the y and then switch. All right, let's go on. This one right here, it says translate. Now, translate is a slide. A translation is a slide. Like if you take this calculator and you slide it to the side. This one, you're sliding it to the right 2 and then down 4. Okay, so your new point, A prime and B prime, is going to be as follows. So, on all the x's, you're going to put a 2. And then on the y's, you're going to put a -4. Okay? So if you put a 2, you get 0. And if you put a 4, a -4, you get 0. So that's going to be 0, 0. On this one, you're going to get 3 plus 2 is 5. And that's going to be a -10 when you add that up. And that's how you slide it, and that is a translation. Okay, so let's keep moving at this point. Today we're doing something called a glide reflection. A glide reflection is a combination where you reflect it, okay, and you slide it. So you do two things. It's called a glide reflection. Copy that down. All right, let's take a look here. You're reflecting it, or you translate it first. Okay, so you're going to take your points and you're going to add a 0 to the x, and you're going to add a -2 to the y's. That's your slide. So your new point is going to be 3 and 0, and this one is going to be -3 and 3. Okay, that's your new point when you slide it. Now when you reflect it over the y-axis, you have to change the x. So your new point, double prime, since we're doing 2 moves here, you're going to change the x. So on this one right here, you're going to change that, and you're going to change that one, and that's your answer. Okay? So that's called a glide reflection. All right, before I give you the work, let's take a look at the workbook. So open up your workbook to page 128. Okay, so get your workbooks out. Let's take a look here. How can you classify rigid motions? How can they be classified? Well, number 1, you can translate it, which is a slide. You can reflect it, okay, which is a flip, okay, and you can rotate it. And today we're doing glide reflections. And that's a combo. A rotation combination right there. All right, so let's go on. Is it correct to say that the composition of a translation, which is a slide, followed by a reflection is a glide reflection? Yes, because that is the definition of it. Let's see what she did wrong on this one. Okay, so on this one right here, take a look at it in your book. She flipped it, so she reflected it over that line, y equals x, remember? And then here, to slide it down, it would look like this if she did it right. But she didn't do it right. It looks like she rotated it. So there's the mistake on that one, okay? And again, it's called error analysis. All right, so I got you through the first few of them. Now on this section, you got to figure out what they did. So from WYX, which is this one, they're going to NLM. NLM is this one. It looks like they flipped it, and it looks like they flipped it over this line right here. Okay, so they flipped it over the line y equals 1. So this would be a reflection. And that's what you got to do for this part right here. You got to determine what they did. Did they slide it? Did they reflect it? Did they rotate it? What did they do? Okay, so for that section right there. Now they get a little harder on the back side here. So I want you to turn to page 130. Now I want you to look at number 13. Okay, so look at what's going on. You're going to first slide it. So you're going to identify each one of these points. Okay, and they give them to you. Let's see. So the points are right here. And what you're going to do is put a 0 on the x's. And then you're going to put a -2 on the y's. And then you're going to write your new points. And then you're going to reflect it over the y-axis. Okay, that's how you're going to do that. Remember, the y-axis, you're going to change the x. All right, down here it says reflect it over this line. Now this is going to be harder, so you might have to graph it. The line is reflect over line P. And according to this, line P is x equals -3. So x equals -3, your x-axis is here. So -3 would be right here. So you're going to probably have to graph these and see where the point is. And then you got to count your distance from here to here and go over here and put the same distance. So that's going to be a little more of a challenge. Today's work is right here. If you get stuck, I'll help you. And I already worked some of them. So write down your assignment. All right, let's turn our attention now to NCR. Okay, so on MCR, let's work these problems here. Okay, so label your bell work. Today is week 1, quarter 2, okay, and the date is the 12th of October. All right, so let's go ahead and distribute. So here we're going to go ahead and distribute here. So that's going to be -6x minus 12 is equal to 8 because you have to distribute. And then now you're going to move this over to the other side. So that becomes a plus 12. And then you're going to divide by -6. So x is equal to, that's 20 divided by -6. And then you can reduce it. I like my negative at the top. Half of 10 or 20 is 10. And half of 6 is 3. So I'm going to leave my answer like that. Well, let's take a look at this one here. The signs are the same, so you got to add these up. This becomes a plus. You have more pluses. This one right here, you have more minuses. Make sure you understand those rules. All right, let's go on. Today we're going to go ahead and move on to section 3.6, so pay attention. First thing it says is, are these solutions? Draw a line. This is greater than. Okay? Greater than or equal to. So you're going to plug your points in. I'm just going to pick one of these. I'll pick the middle one. So x is 0, so put a 0 right here. and y is negative 6. So I'm going to get negative 6 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 5 is a negative 5. Is negative 6 bigger than negative 5? The answer is no, because it's a bigger negative. That makes it smaller. So this is false. So it's not a solution. This one doesn't work. And that's how you do that. You plug them in and you see if it works. All right, let's move down to these right here. Now pay attention. I'm just going to drop down to this last one right here. All right, so copy down this last one, number 4. All right, so you're going to label this as A and B. Now pay attention to this, all right? So first, you got to take A and you got to get, or you have to get Y by itself. This is less than. And you got to do the same thing for B. So you're going to draw your line. You're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So you're going to get y is less than negative 2x plus 4. This one right here, you're going to add 2x. So you're going to get y is greater than 2x plus 2. All right, now you're going to graph these. Watch how I do this and pay attention. So the first thing you do is you go to your y-intercept. So you go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. The slope here is in front of the x. So you're going to go down 2 and to the right 1. So down 2 and then to the right 1. Now, since it's less than, it's going to be a broken line. Dotted. If it was less than or equal to, it would be solid. So this one is broken. Okay, so if you see the little line under it, you would make it solid. But this one is broken. Make sure you know that. Now, since it's an inequality, you have to pick a test point. So I like to use 0, 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 and 0. And when you do that, you get 0 is less than 4. Well, 0 is less than 4. That's true. So since this one's true, you're going to color this side of the inequality. See, inequalities, you have to shade them in. All right, now watch again. The next one, and I'm going to use a different color here, the y-intercept is 2. So you're going to go up 2 and put a dot. Your slope is up 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1 is here. This one is also broken. Now you can use 0, 0 again. So I'm going to put 0 and 0. 2 times 0 is 0, so 0 is greater than 2. That's false. Since this one's false for the aqua one, it's false here, so you're going to color the other side of the line. And where these two hashtags cross, which is this region here, is a solution for both of those inequalities. So this is a little bit more of a challenge today. Here's your assignment, and I'll work one with you in class. Have a good morning.